Robert, well, since the U.S. market is more advanced than Asia, what lessons, since you've seen what's happening in Asia, what lessons do you think we can learn that will benefit us here in Asia based on the American experience?
Yeah, I believe that, to borrow your phrase, I believe it all boils down to suitability. Mm-hmm. And so when you start thinking about leverage and inverse products, that's created some challenge for us in the US market. It's also created that suitability conversation in markets where leverage and inverse products are being launched for the first time. In the US market, we also have a number of significant, what I would call complex products, mm-hmm. That are also exchange listed. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of interest by the regulators in looking at all of the various structures that are currently in the marketplace today. And so I think, if we look at the hurdles, it's about education and it's also about suitability. How do we continue to be vigilant as an industry to ensure that the right products are ending up in the hands of the right investors at the right times?
Perhaps then that's a good question I can pass on to Kwan. How do you think we should answer that question based on the Taiwanese experience?
Just a little bit on the side. I wonder if suitability is in the Oxford English Dictionary. Okay, but I agree. I agree with the idea very much. Mm-hmm. That's why we require the investors be qualified, okay, to trade those more innovative ETF products, mm-hmm. and investor educations too. Mm-hmm. I totally agree.
Kyung-Hap, Korean experience, what do you think? I mean, how should we really address the suitability and the investor education issues?
Yes, I did say every year we are focused on education, mm-hmm. on ETF market. So usually in Korea nowadays, the financial advisor, there's lots of financial advisor. We educate to them ETF market, the risk of ETF, like that. So they deliver ETF market to other investors. Mm-hmm. Usually local region in the country, maybe 13 in Korea. We educate every year, and usually I met press media.
Media.
Yeah, because they can write about ETF and risk of ETF. So I focus on mass media and the education to investor through the financial planner.
What is the same for you?
Yes. In fact, I have to repeat ourselves. We are talking about education, and that's the only thing that the regulators have been asking the exchange to do. In fact, some point last year, if I remember it correctly, it was immediately after the China shock. We call it in Japan China shock. There is the summer of last year, and the 1570, the Nikkei leverage ETF. There were a lot of activity in that product, and that kind of caught the attention of the regulator. And from there on, we are in constant conversation with the regulator as to the level of so-called retail interest in this leverage and inverse ETF.